great to have you here. Some
Thank
people
you.
might say, about athletes occasionally that they've lost a step, but I think we can all see tonight Vince is still as good as ever, and better with time, right? Better with time. When you look back on the first project, When I Call Your Name, and think about how you sustained all of this.
Yeah, well, I wish that was the first project, but there was quite a few before that. A lot of people don't realize I made my first records in '83 for 7 years without hardly any success at all. I tell people I was making records a long time ago, but I couldn't prove it because nobody had them. But and then I had a few hits with Pure Prairie League back in the late '70s, and those were fun days, and a little bit of a bluegrass life too. So I've been at it for a long, long time before When I Call Your Name finally broke the door down.
Was that the moment you also realized, like, okay, this is going to work out? I can actually live off this?
Well, yeah. I mean, because a lot of people don't realize that at that juncture, right before I recorded When I Call Your Name, like I said, I tried for 7 years to have some hits and not too much success, and I got a pretty flattering offer to join Dire Straits back in the late '80s. And Mark was somebody I really admired and loved the way he played, and it would have kind of solved my life financially and stuff, a world tour and all that, because I was really struggling to get the rent paid. And I called him and I said, man, I'm sorry, but I'm going to turn this Sure thing down. I said, I love what you do, but if I don't believe in myself, I don't know that I can get anybody else to. And so I just took a chance, and got lucky. And When I Call Your Name came out shortly after that. I got to work on Mark's record anyway, and everything worked out pretty great.
I remember, and you could tell already how humble and cool Vince is, but I'll never forget Vince when I'm coming out of the Grammy Awards. By the way, did I mention 21 Grammys, this guy?
Well,
I was in the 300 section. I had to walk down to get down to the floor.
I don't know. There was a lot of Russian collusion that I'd like to cop to why I have all those Grammys.
I'll never forget walking out the door, though, of the Staples Center, and I look over, and who is walking out with, like, a backpack on, but the one and only Vince Gill. And I'm like, Vince? And he's like, hey, pal. And I was like, where are you headed? He's like, I'm going to the airport. I came for the show. I'm flying back out. So, I mean, he's walking out as a normal person, this guy. So you can see that's exactly what Vince Gill is. Let's talk about one of the tracks on the new project called Forever Changed, which is a deep song, one of those we mentioned earlier. It does handle one of the topics that, is very tough, which is sexual abuse. So tell me how the song came to you and why it was important to put that on the project.
Well, I'm not afraid of tough subjects. I think the real reason to tackle a subject is if you have the right intent. If you can come to the table with the idea without it being judgmental. I think that's where we really fail each other is when we're judgmental of each other. And I had an incident in junior high school where the basketball coach and I was in 7th grade on the 8th grade basketball team, and coach called me into his office one day and I sat on his desk and he put his hand on my leg and it started getting higher and higher, and I'm in 7th grade. I don't know anything. And I just ran. I just was lucky in that I got up and I said, there's something that's not right here. And I ran. And I know there was a lot of kids that went through that program that probably weren't so lucky. So as I was not abused sexually as a child, but I almost was. And I tell that because I just want people to know I have a heart for it, and I kind of have I want to have a voice for innocent people. I think a lot of times when something bad like that happens, people stuff it way, 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 way down, and they're ashamed or they're whatever they struggle with, and I just want people that have had that happen to them to say, hey man, you didn't do anything wrong. And once again, if you can tell a story like this with a little bit of grace, a little bit of kindness in it, I think it's okay.